now is preliminary information. I want to underscore that. And it's certainly subject to change and or be modified as the investigation goes on. But as is my policy and that of the Sheriff's Office, we release to you the best information as early as possible, with your complete understanding that we may have to modify the information later. First and foremost, I want to explain to you that life is not a movie. Life is not a television production. Life is real. And what you see on the big screen from a movie is not how life really is. I'm still surprised at the people that will tell you that marijuana is low level and non-violent. I've got the families of 2 people this afternoon that will tell you the opposite. And here's what we know at this early stage. At about 1:30 this afternoon, a white Mercedes AMG pulled into the Secret Cove area and was driven by a young black male. Other young black males came up to the vehicle and they were talking. And all of a sudden, the white car raced off down Pirates Way, extremely fast for the neighborhood and the conditions, and drove directly into a house, an apartment, a home. Mercedes Emergency Services called the Sheriff's Office and reported a vehicle crash. That's what we thought we were responding to. Deputies arrived, fire services arrived. The vehicle is completely in the home. They rushed in, pulled the young black male out of the vehicle, and started doing life-saving measures when they discovered he's got a bullet hole in his chest. And then it goes from a fatal vehicle crash to a murder investigation. And then during the same time frame, the people discover there's another deceased person underneath the car. And here's what they discovered. A gentleman, we've not notified next of kin of any of these folks, so we're not giving their names yet, was riding his electric-powered bicycle when this Mercedes, barreling down the road with a man with a bullet hole in his chest, now we know, ran over and pushed our other victim into this home, immediately killing him. The investigation shows us that our driver of the Mercedes had a famous quote from the Scarface movie, "The world is yours," tattooed on his chest. He also had tattooed on one of his hands, "Life is a gamble." That's why I said, well, this is not a movie. This is real life. The details are sketchy, but one of the several people that came out and approached the Mercedes shot and killed the driver of the Mercedes. Immediately we discovered there's at least 2-gallon bags of marijuana in the white Mercedes, as well as a thick wad of cash. Now, for those of you who want to think that marijuana is low level and nonviolent, you're just absolutely, totally out of your mind. We have what we know is 2 people that are victims. We suspected the early stages. Our man with these tattoos came there to sell marijuana, and these other folks planned to rip him off, and we ended up with this shooting. Now, we have video, and I want to make it abundantly clear to those that were there. We have your picture. It's important that you understand you can be a suspect or you can be a witness. You can be a suspect or you can be a witness. We know that one person was the trigger man. We know that the others were involved. So once again, you decide. You decide where you want to stand in this investigation. Our homicide team is there. We have removed one of our victims, the one that was driving the vehicle that we suspect was there to sell drugs, that we suspect was shot and killed during a drug or potential drug transaction. He's been removed from the scene. Our other victim will be removed shortly, but we must have a record to go in and pick that vehicle up in order for us to get the other victim out. I want to underscore the gentleman riding the electric bicycle at this early stage of the investigation appears to have absolutely no involvement in this event. He was just so unfortunate to be in the wrong place at the wrong time. And what he was doing there was going to his brother's house, which was next door to the apartment that the vehicle crashed into. So it's very sad to me that a man just minding his business, riding his electric bicycle, is murdered. And he's murdered as a result of the initial conduct where our suspect of a potential dope deal / victim was shot, and obviously by this time he was trying to get away, and by the time he got to the end of the street he was out of it. But whoever started that and shot our suspect / victim is ultimately responsible for the death of this other gentleman just trying to get through life. Are there any questions?
You said we don't have names, but ages, were they all teenagers?
We know that the gentleman on the bicycle was 38. All the others were young. They were teenage age. Now, we're focusing in, so we'll be able to provide more detail later on.
Sheriff, how close was the bicycle rider from the house before he was hit?
We're investigating that. He was pretty close. He was in the curve, so he was, it appears at the early stage, he was hit by the white Mercedes and driven into the house. And now he's underneath the car, deceased.
Was there anyone else in the house?
No one else was in the house at the time, thank the good Lord. Or if someone had been in this house, this vehicle entered the house at the bedroom, certainly if anyone had been in the bedroom, they would have been run over as well.
There was a canine unit on the scene. What were they looking for?
Yeah, they were looking for evidence.
Anything specific?
Yes.
Were there any calls from the neighborhood regarding the shooting?
Was
Any calls about gunshots heard in the
well, yes, there were other 911 calls, but the first one we got was the crash, and Mercedes has a system involved in it. But you must ask yourself, when you've got a teenager driving a high-end car, we call that a clue.
There was a gas station right there, and it was also roped off by the dumpster. Is that in connection to everything else? What happened over there?
We found some evidence there.
Found it.
Yes, ma'am.
Are you familiar with the driver of the Mercedes?
Am I familiar with him?
Record or anything like
We're not going to give that information out at this early stage of the investigation. We will provide that to you later on, but he is not flawless.
Are we able to know where the video or pictures you said came from on that street?
We are not releasing that information right now.
Do you have any suspicion this may be gang related?
I have no information at this early stage of the investigation that it's gang related, but I don't have any information that it's not either.
Was it multiple gunshots or just one?
We're still investigating how many gunshots. We see one evident gunshot that, according to the placement of it, certainly would have been sufficient to cause the death.
To clarify, you said there were other teens. How many other people were inside the car?
We're not going to release how many people were at the scene. There's others that we're interested in, but there was only one person in the white Mercedes, and that's our victim that was shot in the chest that we believe may have been there to do a dope deal.
I want to just to reconfirm that driver was a black male.
The driver was a black male. Our persons of interest right now are black males, or at least it appears to be on the video, and they're all young. Some of them appears to be kids, just kids. But kids with guns are dangerous.
And I also ask, just to be clear, so do we think that, obviously, you have Engle Boulevard?
Yes.
So the car came down there and then already made that turn?
He was right in the turn is where he stopped.
Okay. So that's,
And then when he was shot, then he took off. And of course, obviously, between where he was shot and the end of the street, which was seconds, he obviously lost consciousness or ability to control the vehicle. Okay?
Can you get a shot of that picture one more time?
But see, he thought this life is a game. Life is a movie set. The world is your Scarface. A lot of people made a lot of money on that Scarface movie, but that's what it is. It's a movie. It's not reality. What reality is, whether you were there to sell marijuana or not, what reality is, a young man lost his life there in a potential drug deal, and another gentleman just riding his bike, minding his own business, lost his life. And these other folks apparently had no intention of buying dope. It appears at the early stages they came there just to rip the man with the dope. And they've now got themselves a double homicide, double murder that they're facing. Okay?
Quick question.
did they all leave on foot? Did anybody get
They ran on foot.
Everybody ran away.
Mm-hmm.
The occupants of the apartment, have you had a chance to speak with them, and do they know
Not
the
yet.
individuals?
We haven't talked to them yet.
And the home is like totally damaged.
It is totally demolished. They drove directly into the bedroom, and the Mercedes is sitting completely inside the house.
Is anyone in custody at this time?
We are still investigating. We have good video. We'll be able to identify them, and our homicide team's out working now. That's why I made it abundantly clear. There's more than one person involved, but it appears, and I underscore at the early stage of the investigation, one shooter. So you have suspect, witness, suspect, witness. Which do you want to be? All right. Thank y'all very much. Talk to you soon.